Welcome to News Game Plus. I'm Dermy, and once again, I'm here with New Game Plus executive producer, and it's actually still for another 12 months, New Game Plus executive producer Jason O'Callaghan.
Do we want to get this bit out of the way first, or?
Well, yeah. Look, I mean, right when you're airing your goodbye episode on Channel 31, the government comes through and goes, you know, you can have another 12 months.
Jack Prospect and I were in, so we set up a set for TGF and we were streaming TGF. And so once we'd done that, Jack Prospect and I were in here making a video for a C31 live cross tomorrow. Well, it was meant to be the next day, so Tuesday. On their last night, they were going to do 7 hours of live TV. We were going to cross over, blah, 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 and I went in because I figured they've cancelled us. What do I care? I'd emailed Gladys Liu. I'd emailed Paul Fletcher. I'd made my consultations through like the very few back alley sources I have into the libs. I'd made every possible thing I could. We'd heard nothing, right? And I said it to Shane Dunlop, who's the CEO of C31. I said, mate, if they're going to announce it, they're going to do it on the Monday. Like, they're not going to do it on the Friday. They're going to use the Friday to bury some story, and I'm sure that they did bury a story on the Friday. They'll do it on the Monday when they can use it as a good news item. So then the little bit of extra carryover they get, they can hide. Oh, it was the ABC cuts. They were using it to hide the ABC cuts.
Yeah.
And he thought I was crazy, and I said, I promise you it's what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. We're recording it, and we finish it, and we go, cool, we're setting up, good stream, guys, blah, blah. Then literally, blah, 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 like, it all just lights me up. Like, everyone's telling me that suddenly we've been extended. I'm like, are you for real? Because obviously C31 had started letting people go, and they'd started winding down all of the actual gear and all that kind of stuff. And they keep talking about how they want to move to an online platform. It's like, well, this lack of certainty has cost, I would argue it has cost C31 millions of dollars, not thousands, millions in local advertising, because C31 doesn't cost the government anything, so it has to make its money through community advertisements. Now, they're reasonably priced. If you've got some business and you spend 10 grand on ads, that's nearly a 6-month campaign on C31. And these are the people who are going to buy from your business. So, it makes sense, if you've got we get a lot of butchers and a lot of tradies and stuff like that. Realistically, you get 2 or 3 gigs out of that for a tradie. You've made your money back. You've made your $600 back. You get like an ongoing customer out of the for a butcher shop. You've made your money back. So yeah, I'm not surprised that they did it. It was funny. I will say, who's the new host of Q&A? You don't watch Q&A, do you? Like, who's the lady who was hosting it?
I don't know who that is. No, it's a guy from the project.
Hamish, yeah, he's useless. Yeah, and she went in on. She must have known this is the only chance she had, and she went in on Fletcher, man. Like, they did a thing about how they're giving $250 million to support the entertainment industry, which of course the entertainment industry makes much more than that back. And she's like, well, every other industry is not capped. Why is entertainment capped? Like, why have you capped this? It's like, oh, that's a Green's talking point. She's like, oh, I don't care whose talking point it is. Why have you capped it? I'm like, damn, lady, get stuck in. Like, I was so impressed that an ABC journalist remembered how to ask a Liberal a question. And Bill Shorten's cacking himself. Bill Shorten's on the other side of the desk. Like, just off the success of Robodebt, like, Lee Sales has never asked anyone a question like she's asked Bill Shorten.
We know the host wasn't Lee Sales from what you said.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's just cacking himself. And so, look, I'm going off topic. The main point is, yes, it's nice to have the extension. Yes, it's nice. Like, there's going to be some changes to the way we do things to try and integrate a little bit better for online. Jack will be taking over the actual creative direction of the show, so you're hearing that here first. So I can go off and do my own thing. I will give one more little bit of credit. Like, I've always gone in on Gladys Liu and the Liberal Party for the shenanigans they pulled with the AEC ballots and stuff here, and then there's the questions of Nick Zhao and all this kind of stuff.
With everything, yeah.
She called me personally because I sent an email. She called me personally and said, we've extended it, and it was all the usual bullshit Liberal lines, and that's fine. But credit's where it's due. I called emailed my local member, and my local member called me, and that is technically how it is supposed to work. So credit where it is due. She did call me personally and advise me that things had it had been extended and stuff like that. So for all the crap I like to give them, I will concede that was more than I was expecting to get out of them for it. So there you go.
That's pretty impressive, because I got to say, if our local member called our house, my wife would probably abuse him.
Well, look, it was on those things because it was an unknown call. It was the day after all the TGF streams. So we've done back-to-back 9-hour streams, you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't sound like much, but it's exhausting being on camera and trying to be hype all the time and stuff. So
Yeah, it is.
I'd crashed out. I was just gone to the world. And so I just missed her phone call. So I was kind of lucky because I don't know how I would have handled it if I was half
Sure you didn't-
asleep talking
you
to a
didn't-
federal Liberal member. Yeah, I'm sure I'd have the feds around in about 3 seconds. So
Yeah, well, the Chinese feds as well. So-
yeah. Yeah, I'd suddenly get a scholarship for UQ and get shipped to Queensland.
Hey, you say the advertising is good value because I remember one of the very first segments I did on New Game Plus, one of the old Game Plus segments. I told my family that to watch it, not that they gave a shit, but I'm going to check it out on TV. And one of the ads was for sex toys.
Nice.
I was like, wow, that's a good start.
Lucrezia and Desard have advertised on C31. It has to be for decades. It would be for as long as I've made television on C31. Lucrezia and Desard have made things. So if you do need high quality leather gear for your romantic life, Lucrezia and Desard can be recommended because they're a long time C31 supporter.
It was really good. It was a great time to tell my family to, hey, Mum,
yeah.
what
Yeah. Suddenly your kids have a lot less questions.
So, kids were pretty young back then, fortunately. Anyway, so on for another. How many years will that make of New Game Plus, and before that, level 31? Are you up to? At least a decade.
Yeah, it's about 14 years.
14 years of it.
Yeah.
That is still the longest. I reckon still the longest running video game TV show in the world. I can't see any being.
I am like, again, if you want to look at it from the point of view of who do we blame for New Game Plus, I am personally now responsible for 580 episodes that I know of on TV. I'm sure there's more. I'm not going to lie. I'm nearly certain that there's actually more episodes that we're missing a few. Yeah, they're from the count. But yeah.
You are the One Piece of video game shows.
Yes. Yeah. Just keep on going, man. Like, yeah. I'm in Mermaid Arc at the moment. I'm just about. Yeah, it's fine. Like, that's for the anime fans in the crowd.
I didn't get it either, but I'm a normie. I'm a
sort of online normie. Oh, jeez.
I don't know One Piece because it showed up on Netflix, and my daughter made a joke about how many episodes. I don't know.
It's into 800. So it's got me by about 300. But I'm not going to lie to him. If you didn't mind Sword Art Online, even it's a bit older. Like you can tell it's a bit older.
I actually like Sword Art.
But yeah, watch One Piece. It's good. It's those first few seasons when it's all baby Luffy meeting baby Sanji and baby Zoro. It's still such a great anime. It's later on the anime loses its kind of. It does too much stuff and it tries to stretch things out too far and all this kind of stuff. So that's probably when I would say it's worth dropping it. But before that, like, it's such a good show. Like, yeah, if you like Fairy Tail, if you like My Hero Academia, I still maintain is probably the best shonen anime at the moment.
Yeah, Bill watches that.
Yeah. No, I'm big on MHA. Anyway, sorry, this is an anime podcast. We kind of skipped politics and went into anime. That's the dream.
Yeah. Well, no, you say baby whatever and that. My heart only has room enough for one baby when I watch TV, and that's Baby Yoda. So,
oh my lord!
I mean, Facebook Baby Yoda group.
You are a boomer. Holy crap!
Oh, man, it is just middle-aged women who are past their
chicky nuggies. Yeah. The ovaries have popped and turned into chicky nuggies. Yeah.
Reliving the old days with Baby Yoda. They post pictures of their Baby Yoda around the house, sitting there with milk and.
What do they call them? Like there's the women who have like the living dolls, where it's like they have like a doll that looks like either a kid that died that they had or whatever, and then they're just like they treat it like it's the real kid.
Baby Yoda is clearly
a coping mechanism. Yeah.
No, but I love some of the photos, and I've got a soft spot for Baby Yoda. Actually, Baby Yoda looks most like my father-in-law.
Oh God!
He's not around anymore, but
I was gonna say Turns out Baby Yoda is not from a mysterious planet. He's not from Dagobah. He's not from some mysterious planet. He's just Croatian.
He's from Poland.
Poland, that's right. He's Polak.
my relatives are Polish, and a lot of them married to Croats, which makes really fun time Christmas dinners.
Actually, I should have realized it was Polish from your wife's maiden name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not dox us.
Yeah. No. I'm not. I just should have realized that. Now I look back. Yeah.
So yeah, and TGF was on the weekend.
It went really well. Like big turnout. Low cost cosplay went well. So go back and watch that clip of people sending in their low cost cosplay. I did a One Piece low cost cosplay here, and so you got to see me with the nipple tape and my shirt open. Yeah, it was. We didn't actually have real nipple tape, so I had to use gaffer tape. So pulling it off went particularly well.
Yeah, boy nipples, not those evil girl nipples at
Facebook.
Yeah.
None of the, like, yeah, I had good, wholesome, righteous male nipples, and not evil, forbidden from Facebook female nipples.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, let's do some video game news, because otherwise this ends up being an anime and nipple podcast.
Yeah, we're going to come back to exposing yourself on Twitch very soon.
We did an anime nipple podcast. It would get listens.
It would.
All right, cool. Let's start. Another one, since you're in a very happy mood. Earth Defense Force 6 is coming next year.
They've got 2 coming. They've got one that's a Minecraft shooter. I don't know if you've seen that. Earth Defense Force World Forces or something like that.
Minecraft shooter.
Yeah. Force World something.
Oh yeah, I know. There's 2 games. Yep.
No, so they got 2 games coming. World Brothers, and it's like a blocky game, so it looks like a Lego-y kind of So that's good, because like that game's great. Yeah.
I'll be okay with that, since
it's still gonna have blocky spiders, and as soon as you have a spider in it, he can't go near it. It's not how it works.
Well, cool. You'll be excited by that. Although you didn't like the most recent one, I think it was.
Me?
The one that's on Game Pass.
Oh, the American one, Insect Armageddon. Insect Armageddon was the American one between 4.1 and 5. Oh, maybe it was a bit early. Actually, it was between 2017 and 4, and it was just American. So kind of, the Americans don't understand what makes a good EDF game. Like, they don't understand what makes that kind of fun. And so, like, the voice acting's garbage, and it's all over the top, and it's all over wrought. But that's what worked for it. Whereas, like, with the Americans, they take it like 1-to-1. And then obviously they did Earth Defense Force Iron Rain, which was Ukes, the guys who do the wrestling games, making an EDF game that was meant to be like a realistic semi-military shooter. And I'm like, you could do that if you then went full Starship Troopers on it, but they didn't. They just added like gritty, dark atmosphere, and the way the guns worked was dumb. Anyway, just wait for EDF 6. I'm so keen for EDF 6. I would have loved to have seen it at TGS and chatted to the guys there, like Tsuyoshi and stuff, the guy who does the community management. Because yeah, it's I love that game. I love that series. It's probably one of the ones I recommend for anyone to play at least once.
Actually, you mentioned Starship Troopers. Actually, reminded me, Screen Rant had an article. I don't know if you saw 10 things about Starship Troopers that haven't aged well.
Yeah.
And if anybody hasn't seen Starship Troopers, it's worth watching. But actually, some of the things they said didn't age well is the violent nationalism. I thought, well, no, we're still there. The glorification of war. No, we're still there.
Okay, so this is the problem with Americans. When Americans watch something, they take it literally. They always look at it.
I think half our audience is American, so.
No, look, but like, how can you watch Starship Troopers and go, oh, this is literally about killing bugs? Yeah, screw those bugs, and then not reflect on that and go, maybe that's what nationalism is. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, the whole thing was like, the original book is like borderline satire. Sometimes you're like, well, you're getting a little bit too into this, but that movie, Paul Verhoeven in the thing, he goes, I'm not saying one of the best lines that Paul Verhoeven has in nearly every movie he's ever made, and it's in one of the commentaries for, I think it's RoboCop or maybe it's Starship Troopers, and he goes, I'm not trying to say that the Americans are Nazis, but the Americans are Nazis. And that's literally his line from one of the things. I just remember hearing that and just cacking myself. I think that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard. So yeah.
It's funny how they think other Americans are Nazis.
I'd like to point out that is the skilled Paul Verhoeven and not the Australian Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah. Well, there's the existence of good does imply the existence.
Yeah, the yin and yang. The yin and yang of Paul Verhoeven is the.
So there is a good Paul Verhoeven and an evil Paul Verhoeven. So actually, Starship Troopers has a really good line where it's got this guy with I think he's got no legs, and I think he's all like, might even have only one arm or something. I can't remember in the recruiting. And the person comes up to sign up and he goes, being in the infantry made me the man I am today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see him there just in a wheelchair and that, and it's that sort of commentary that I think maybe some people didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Paul Verhoeven movie. Everything that he makes, bar maybe Showgirls, and even Showgirls was pretty much like, why is softcore porn not an actual like Hollywood genre? Like everything that he does is taking the piss. That's why I love Paul Verhoeven movies. So like, I don't know, the fact that there's like, oh, that didn't hold up well. Like, nah, it held up better than ever. What a stupid thing to say. Like, yeah.
If you think Starship Troopers didn't hold that well, then it's you.
Yes,
So
correct,
actually,
correct.
Showgirls was weird though, because I don't think I've ever watched any video with that many boobs in it and still not really enjoyed it.
Look, Showgirls is the best worst movie you've ever seen, in the sense that it is like it's hard to even call it softcore smart, because I mean, like, there's no merkins, there's no body doubles in that. Like, that is 1-to-1 happening. I mean, there's worse jobs in the world than being Kyle MacLachlan, is all I'll say. Like,
Oh yeah, well, there's an excellent sex scene in the pool that looked a lot like a shark attack. Anyway, let's move on to the next
on
video.
that note, yeah.
Wait, just watch the movie. You'll know what I'm talking about. I don't even know why I remember that. All right, cool. We mentioned anime before. Let's do some more anime stuff. Cyberpunk, and there's Cyberpunk 2077. It's had another delay. I don't really care how many delays it has. Just make sure it's good.
No surprise. It's going to be, what is it? I think it's like September. No, it's November now, isn't it?
Yeah, don't care. I don't think anyone cares. I think everyone's just sitting back, make it good, because it'll be a letdown if it's not. But anyway, it's getting an anime, a Netflix anime. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, I think it is.
Edge Runners, yep.
Yeah, so that'll be good, because Netflix is on board with the anime at the moment, which is pretty neat.
It is interesting because, we can go a little bit in depth now. Or maybe can I? Yeah, I can. Okay, so Funimation got bought by Sony, and Funimation was, I think, a 50% partner in Madman. And now I believe that Madman is a wholly owned subsidiary of Funimation. So Funimation, for years, that was what they were known for, right? They were, Fukunaga, and all those, they were known for bringing anime to the West. That was just what they were known for. There was Funimation, and there was always a couple would pop up who might do 1 or 2 series, or they might do this, or it might be this group gets the sub instead. But Funimation was known for the big titles. They were the ones who were going to bring it over to the West. It was as simple as that. Now Netflix is doing Nana no Taisei, 7 Deadly Sins.
I love that. Actually, I really enjoyed that.
So that isn't actually made by Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's made by Kodansha, but they have the exclusive distribution rights globally. So in Japan, it's still on Tokyo TV or whatever, Fuji TV or whatever channel it was on, right? But in the West, or even in the rest of the world, it's a Netflix series. So that's why they say it's a Netflix series. And then a lot of the Funimation series are on Netflix as well. So you've got Full Metal Alchemist and a few of those that are all Funimation series, right? So, Funimation gets memed on a little bit for their audio and stuff, but they usually do a pretty good job of it. So a lot of their series are on there as well. But Funimation is also Anime Lab now. Do you know what I mean? Anime Lab is Funimation. Simple as that. So they're in that weird kind of awkward spot where what do they keep on Anime Lab, because it's only going to be so niche that it's going to appeal to that. Netflix has gone the other way and gone, let's get niche crap on that no one would really want to see. And then, like, Beastars has done them great guns. Like, Beastars, who would have, like, it's the most furry thing ever, and yet it's just such a good series. Like, yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah, Netflix is in that weird spot.
Yeah, no, I was worried. I saw it and I thought, no, this is fairy stuff.
Yeah,
so
but it's good. So it's the lady who wrote Beastars is the daughter of the guy who wrote Bucky the Grappler. Now, I love Bucky the Grappler. It's at once the most, like, masculine, and, well, it's one of those things where it really says, hey, masculinity is basically like homoeroticism, and we're just going to give you equal amounts of both. So it goes from, like, brutal fights where people get, like, jaws broken off and stuff, to, like, muscular men with like sweat dripping off them and, like, little pursed lips and all this kind of stuff. So he was already doing that kind of subversive stuff, and then his daughter writes Beastars, which is like the furriest furry McFurry that's ever furried. but it's actually a really good series to go with it. So like father like daughter, they're still just subverting these kind of obvious tropes that anime brings. So good on them, because like she deserves all the success in the world. It's a good series. Like, don't stress if you watch it. Like, it's not going to be awkward conversations. It's a good series. In spite of everything else, it's a good series.
It's different now. When you watch awkward stuff with your kids when they're younger, it's just questions. When you watch when they're teens, they run out of the room. To parents.
It becomes a different tier of awkward. Yeah.
So the thing you said before, the Beastars, whatever that was, is that along the lines of the same concept as what was behind Fight Club?
Yeah, kind of don't want to spoil it. Like all I'll say is that. All I'll say is that even in our esteemed Weeb chat in the Discord, there is a overall generally positive impression of Beastars, and that's a very hard thing for any anime to do, let alone like a real furry anime. You know what I mean? So
weird though. So
yeah, that's true. That is also true. Yeah, that's also true.
Actually, you mentioned Seven Deadly Sins, and I know I'm a normie and I'm a sword art online.
That's true. You are.
I loved Seven Deadly Sins, although Meliodas probably should be a Twitch streamer.
Yeah, look.
We'll get to that later.
We'll call him Dr. Dis Meliodas. Yeah.
But it was it was a great one-upmanship. So
yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
It's one of those things that, despite obviously, and anyone who watched it will know straight away what we're talking about. The way it builds its arc well, the introducing all the characters and their different motivations, like Barn always wanting to kill Meliodas and all that kind of stuff. Like, all of it works, and it just works towards the end so well. I agree with you. I really enjoy it. I actually need to go back and finish it off. I need to go finish. I need to go finish Psyche. I need to go finish Seven Deadly Sins. I read it, so that's the thing. So I want to go back and see what the anime looks like.
Because when it finally understood the arc with Meliodas and what's girlfriend, can't remember her name. That was actually, I mean, sometimes anime throws things out that are quite interesting. So
the reveal was really good. Like the only long-term reveal that I think is both longer and better done is One Piece. One Piece does a 400 episode callback. And it's just the most out of the blue 400 episode callback, and it lands. And so then to have Meliodas suddenly be like, "Oh, by the way, that's me, isn't it?" Like, it's the awkward. Like, they do a good job of making things that could come across as, "Oh God, really?" Being like, "No, that was actually really cool." So yeah.
Oh well, I think that's because generally the people writing anime are far better storytellers than the people writing Hollywood or TV.
Absolutely no comment on that one. Absolutely no comment.
Well, I'll go with it. They're far better writers. The concepts and the stories are just far superior.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, another gaming one because we're drifting off. So,
back to anime. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get back to Meliodas being a Twitch streamer soon. I'm saving that one for the long talk. There's actually an interesting one. I read Nintendo may be moving away from mobile. Now Nintendo is hedging a bit with the mobile games, and basically Animal Crossing that have done so well on the Switch that the rumor is that they may actually dial back the mobile games and concentrate more on the Switch, since that's actually killed it at the moment.
If that is the outcome of the because they always said that the reason they did mobile was to raise awareness for their console releases. Because I guess the thing with it is you're not losing 30% straight out to Apple straight away. You know what I mean? Like you can sell them, like they sell first-party Nintendo titles for technically less than $100 in Australia. It's always $79 maximum, right?
Yeah.
And even then, they're still making more money than if they were to release those games through Apple, because Apple takes 30% off the top straight away. So they would take 30% straight away. So from their point of view, they'd rather do that, keep them in their ecosystem, and they're the only people besides Apple who have the cash for it, just straight up the cash, not the wealth, not the stock max, not the stock cap. The cash, just the cash money. So I think it did 5 million copies in Japan alone, Animal Crossing, and they sold 92,000 Switches there last week. Like, those numbers are huge.
Yeah, no, they're killing it. And look, I think it'll be interesting to see if they do dial back on mobile, if they introduce the monetization. I have a funny feeling this will happen. The monetization systems that they've developed there onto the Switch. So just that's why I keep an eye out. I'll tell you what they have done. Look, Nintendo's, I've said this on the podcast before. I mean, my daughter sits around playing on the Switch, playing Animal Crossing with her friends, and they'll visit each other's islands and stuff, and they'll spend hours just chatting and that. I mean, we had all this stuff about, we need more girl gamers and that. And like Nintendo's just up and done it. So like there's so many.
They've always been a safe bastion for that kind of stuff. And then there's always been a lot of those kind of games. Like, it's always been the joke of the Sims and Nintendo games and all that. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, that's cool. That is what it is. Like, I know that I'm probably in the minority of, 35-year-old dudes like smashing Animal Crossing as hard as I am. But it's one of those games that really does have, if not a 50-50 split, I would say a split favoring like female players, and it's good. Like
Well, yeah. Look, it's just one. I mean, I've got a son and a daughter who both like to play a lot of games, so I see what each of them do and how they play and how they play with their friends. And look, the Nintendo's just got that worked out. Anyway, that's but maybe moving away from mobile, they were hedging a bit, and as you said, raise awareness. But everything's done so well that they're apparently they're thinking of just saying, let's pull back on mobile and concentrate more on the Switch. And why the hell wouldn't you?
Definitely no sadness on that one. Like I know that because they've stepped away from Dragalia, they've stepped away from a few others, and like if you don't need to do it, like I think it goes back to that conversation about the rest of the world's interaction with games, and then the brand new huge Chinese market's interaction with games, where like they mean different things to other cultures because that was what they were to those other cultures. In China, it's nearly always been either competitive multiplayer games or these gacha style games, less story, less evolved kind of storytelling arcs. Whereas, even like Japanese and American games, even European games have had 30 years to kind of at least be able to tell us some good stories. And so, I think it really does show where it's like, if Nintendo are happy to make that kind of money, and Japan will always drive the direction that Nintendo goes. Like every other American branch, European branch will always be reacting to Japan. I mean, they're lucky enough they can set their own terms. They have so much money, they can just set whatever terms they want.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what they do, and I would say let's watch out to see how the monetization goes on the Switch. All right, now actually, here's one. This is everybody reckons that video game journalists make shit up. Well, it happened. We actually have would you call it evidence? Have you read the story that apparently there was an IGN report that Amy Hennig was forced out of Naughty Dog a couple of years ago? And the person who wrote it has come out and said that basically it was completely made up. His boss told him make up the story and run with it.
Wow.
And it's actually and Druckmann is basically said released a statement and said, well, I was really effectively paraphrase. I was really pissed off with that story when it came out, but now I forgive you because you were told to write it. What the author said, I can't remember the name of it. It said was forced gossip. There you go. So, probably something that generally the industry should avoid because there's enough people looking out for that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy. Like, I mean, look, like I know a few people who know Amy Hennig through the Australian scene, and so I remember when it came out because I think it was the fact that this big name player, like it was her and kind of Druckmann were known as the two like big kind of narrative leaders of that whole organization, and then she just up and bailed, and no one could pick out why. And there was always rumors that it was her politics, and there was always rumors that it was this. And I remember that story came out.
I was told by somebody deep inside a certain video game hashtag that she was effectively, they considered her one of them. Anyway, that's
I had heard that from elsewhere as well, and that is definitely, I could definitely see that being and not a forced out kind of situation, but I could definitely see it being an awkward workplace, exactly. Yeah. And I could definitely see that being the case. And to me, it's always this has been the thing with Last of Us 2. Is there's so many people with all these opinions on why Last of Us 2 is the worst game they've ever played, and they've review bombed it. They like to claim they didn't review bomb it, but 2 days out, suddenly it had a 3.4. And no, it's not review bombing. It's legitimate people. Shut up, just shut up. I would rather you say we hate it. Like I would rather just be honest and say we hate X. Don't try and play these pseudo intellectual games of, oh no, this is legitimate. This is the groundswell. No, shut up. Just shut up and go away.
Can I bring up one thing about Last of Us? Because we're going to talk about that. But look, I'll also to close off because we don't need to talk about it too much. The IGN one. Look, don't do that, guys. Because if you're going to fix the reputation of this industry, don't go pulling shit like that. Now, just a quick one on Last of Us. I actually would say with Last of Us, I know people outside of New Game Plus and that who played it, and generally they've said they really enjoyed the first half and they hated playing as the second half. I think they played as Abby.
Yes. So I mean, it's 2 weeks out. Let's do it. Let's do it. No, let's do it. It's 2 weeks out. Like if you haven't played in 2 weeks,
hated that. So basically, so the feedback I got of people are saying they're saying I loved the first half, hated the second half. So that was what I was hearing.
My two caveats to that. Number one, everyone's still attached to Joel. Joel is a monster. Let us be clear. If there is monsters in this world, its name was Joel. And so we're attached to them because we saw the story with Ellie and him. We're attached to it because of Ellie. So to have her as a playable character in the first place is the problem. This is what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago when I said it. The biggest issue with the game is the pacing, because you play first half as Ellie, second half as Abby. Now, there is a scene where you play as Abby at the start of the game, so you know that you can play as her and that she has a fully devolved set of skills and that she plays differently. She plays more physical like Joel was. So you know she's a thing. You know it's this kind of thing. I genuinely believe they should have just played as her the whole game and have the Ellie bit as DLC. Like, 100% should have just done it from the start. And
you were saying ages ago to don't follow the main characters again and go on other paths. So that fits with what you've been saying all along.
Yeah, I think that would have made a genuinely better game. You say, cool, here is the next story for The Last of Us Part 2. Then The Last of Us Part 3, because you notice it's not Last of Us 2, it's Last of Us Part 2. And I think that is something you need to take away from the game. It lives in the shadow of the first one. You cannot play the second one without playing the first one. Like, they'll flash back to these scenes. A lot of Abby's story is tied to the Fireflies and what happened with the Fireflies and all that kind of stuff, right? And even her ending of the story, the way her story ends in the game, ties to the Fireflies. And to me, the themes, the narrative, the characters even, were all fine. Abby, you don't like Abby because, A, the way she deals with the Joel situation is monstrous. Easily as monstrous as anything that Joel's ever done, right? Number two, you don't get a chance to connect with her. And number three, all of her friends who she dragged into it, begged her not to do it. They begged her not to do it. And then when some of them want to leave and go to their own thing and all this kind of stuff, she manages to make all these bad decisions the whole way through. So she's not a likable character, but that's the thing to me that the first one did so well is Joel is a likable character. He's a lovable rogue until he literally ends the world. Do you know what I mean? And that's why people struggle with that. I think, honestly, it would have been a better game if you played with as Abby the whole way through, and then 3 months down the line, they release the Ellie part. I think that would have 100% been a better thing to do, but there's absolutely no chance in hell that Sony were going to let them do that. So, yeah.
Would I'm going to throw something out there as an idea because I was thinking about it, chatting to friends about it. Would people have preferred more of a redemption arc for Joel?
No.
As far as him and Ellie, Ellie finds out and they go through that sort of. I mean, I don't know.
No. And this is the thing. Anyone who tells you that that's their objection didn't play the game. I can put money. I can tell you who played the game and who didn't if they reckon that Joel didn't get his redemption arc. If by the end of the game, so here we go, spoiler cast.
Oh,
So just be warned. The next few minutes are getting real spoilery. Not just you play as Abby, which is a known thing now, right? Joel gets killed. Just gets straight up murdered, right? Ellie had an argument with him the night before. That's all you know. You know that Ellie had an argument with him. Her and Dina had kissed. That was awkward with her and Jesse. That's all you know, right? Then you find Joel. He gets killed, right? And then over the course of it, every time it either cuts away from Ellie or there's a memory or a flashback or she sleeps or whatever, she remembers a different part of the conversation. So by the end of it, you find out that she knew. She found out by the time you're playing Last of Us 2, she knew. She knew 2 years before that. So her coming to terms with her purpose in life, she was ready to die. She was happy to die to potentially save the world. Joel stole her agency. If the biggest crime Joel did was steal her agency in that decision, she decided I am okay with this if it means the world might be a better place. And he took that from her. That is the worst thing that Joel did. And one of the main scenes of the game, and it's right at the end, so that's how you know if people played it or not, is her reconciling that. And that's how I know that if anyone who says that Joel doesn't get a redemption arc, didn't play the game, because he did get a redemption arc. You just didn't play the game. You just watched the cutscenes that leaked, and you decided that you were going to jump on the memes. And to me, like I said, I don't think the narrative beats are wrong. There's some clunky writing because it's hard for middle-aged men to write 18-year-old girls, especially in an apocalypse. But like I say, for me, you see how Joel tries to redeem himself to Ellie. You see the guilt that he suffers. You see her trying to reconcile what he did once she finds out what he did. And then the game is about dealing with the aftermath of Joel's decisions and then Ellie's decisions to continue trying to pursue that vendetta. That is literally the whole thing. Like, Druckmann likes to tell you that it's more than a revenge tale. It's not. It's just 3 revenge tales. So that's, yeah.
Oh, I would say one thing, or I would say another thing. It's definitely, it'd be fair to say it's definitely one that the R18 plus rating.
Yes.
Now this is one where I've seen a lot of advertisements for it and everything, and I think it's probably we've overlooked. Maybe there are some people that don't buy for your kids, so yeah. There's an 18 plus stamped on it for a reason.
I would argue that the ostentatious, over the top nature of a GTA is still more suitable for your 15-year-old than The Last of Us, because The Last of Us is gritty and real. And while they won't realize, like, they will say, oh, that was a cool thing that Franklin did in GTA, you know what I mean? Like, they'll talk about all the silly stuff like that. But the stuff that Ellie and Abby and all these people do, and the things that they do to others, will stick with them. They won't realize it until later. It will genuinely. The game is designed to give you PTSD. Like, there's one scene in the game. Oh, I'm sorry, you've done this. I blame you for this.
Well, my fault.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a scene later, right? And Joel takes Ellie to a museum. I won't go into more detail because it's one of the best scenes in the game, right? So I won't spoil it. He's taking her somewhere. They go there, they have a great day, and then they see a second wing, and she's like, oh, let's go over and check out the second wing. And he's like, oh, I don't know, Ellie, I haven't checked that area out. I've checked out this one and cleared it all out, but I haven't cleared that one out. And so she goes in, and there's only one way in, and the door's blocked. So he lets her in, right? And you start freaking out because you hear noises, you hear the shuffles and the scruff, you don't know what it is. But suddenly you can start picking up items. You start picking up materials. You start picking up bullets. You start picking up, holy shit, like, how am I going to fight? I'm by myself. Like, you start to actually fear for everything. And then it's nothing. And then that singular moment just shows you how, as much as it's like, we don't believe in the word fun in the gameplay, it's true. He doesn't want you to have fun. He wants you to be traumatized by it. And I'm on board. It's valid. I never want to play it again. I never want to go back and say, I'm going to do this for the challenge, or I'm going to do this for Iron Man mode. Even though the gameplay loop itself has been fixed, I don't want to go back and do that. I've got to go back and do it for a video I want to make. I'm just going to put on light and just get the footage I need and get it done, kind of thing, right? But I don't want to go back and experience that game the way that I did again. I might in a couple of years' time. I might in a couple of months' time. Right now, I could not think of anything more draining to myself than that. And for the argument of video games should always be fun, no, video games should always make you feel. And if nothing else, The Last of Us 2 made me feel. If there were things that it could have done better, absolutely. And I wouldn't even go into the idea of 10 out of 10 means perfect. No, it doesn't. It's not how it works. I still wouldn't have given it a 10 out of 10, but I don't rate games. We made that point very early. We'll say whether it's worth playing, whether it's not worth playing, but it's up to you. Yeah.
I gave Sonic Forces 10 out of 10. So
no, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Why aren't you cancelled for that? You should be cancelled for that. Jesus. Like, that's, yeah.
You reckon that's what I get cancelled for? I've had a crack cancelled for everything. All right, cool. Talking getting cancelled. That's a good segue.
I did it for you. How good's that? Like, I've done TV for 10 years.
That's good because we are in danger of becoming the Last of Us 2 podcast.
Yeah, at this
Not
point.
bad for a guy who hates the series.
Yeah.
Anyway, so look, okay. All right, let's. Where do we start here? Okay. There's a lot to unpack. Okay, I'm going to start with Mixer. Microsoft is doing what Microsoft does and ditching a product.
Yeah.
Them and Google are just champions of that. Wait for
So
Google.
Sony too. Throw Sony into that mix as well, but Sony usually just abandon hardware.
Oh well, yeah, and Microsoft's pretty bad at ditching stuff, and the phone, the band, Windows Home Server, that new file system. Anyway, we can go on forever. So. So they've decided to ditch Mixer. Now the reason being, Mixer apparently had about 2% of streaming traffic after all the effort it went to buying Ninja and that.
Yeah,
and they're moving everybody from Mixer to Mixer to Facebook.
Yeah, it's been nixed, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, Facebook Gaming, which has 10% of streaming traffic.
Yeah, nice.
So that's you're jumping out of one lifeboat into another.
Do you know how much does YouTube have while we're on that kind of topic? Like, I imagine YouTube maybe like 20% or something.
No, it's basically it's like browser stats. You know how like Chrome's 80% and Firefox and Internet Explorer and what's the other
probably
Opera. There's a bunch of others that are just single figures and decrease down to below zero. Basically, that's what it's like there. It's Twitch. Which we'll get to Twitch in a moment. So this is going to be an interesting one. So Mixer, all the Mixer people are being transferred to Facebook Gaming. Now, what's interesting, I was reading, there's a few people, like there's one lady on Twitter saying she was the I think the biggest New Zealand Mixer streamer, and she said she'd been putting in after work 40 hours or more a week to try and build up the channel, and suddenly Microsoft's just turned around and go, no, you're Facebook Gaming. Now, as we know, from doing New Game Plus, it's really hard to move an audience. Now, people underestimate, and this is like the Liberal government and telling Channel 31 to just go to YouTube.
Just because Aussie Man reviews. Oh, look at this bloke. Oh, shut up. Fuck
it. It's really hard to move an audience. So, Microsoft showed Mixer down, which is what Microsoft does. I think I read that Ninja was going to go back to Twitch, but then that might be related to another story we'll get to in a moment.
Ninja walked away with a clean 30 million. Shroud and that walked away with about 10 million. And that's because because they offered, they were like, oh, you can keep your contracts going with Facebook Gaming. But nah. They said, you pay us out our contracts as per the clause. And they all held firm, and they all got their tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, that's not bad money. I mean, every kid is going to be saying to their mum, see?
Yeah. Ninja made 30 million, and he was a second-rate Halo player.
I got no idea why these guys are famous, but anyway, that sound like a boomer. So, all right. So that's the first bit of streaming news. Now we mentioned Shroud or so on. Now Twitch. I'm going to start with another story for Twitch before I get there, because I'm going to try and link these together. Okay. Now, did you see the some dude suing Twitch because he broke his dick?
Yes, I did hear that. Yep.
He's suing Twitch. Now, this guy's a bit of an activist. He's been around for a long time. He has sued Microsoft over the Red Ring of Death and demanded Bill Gates appear in court to explain himself. So
he'll answer you on Reddit, but he won't show up to court.
Yeah, so he's the dude doing the legal case is an activist, and basically what I saw in this was he was trying to get attention, and if you want to get the media's attention, if you say that I injured myself masturbating while watching sexually suggestive gaming streaming girls, the Daily Mail and can't help themselves.
First time, every time, yeah.
And you're basically just going to, if you search for it, you'll just get pictures of Alinity everywhere. So it's basically, there's actually a girl on Twitch that paints her boobs.
There was Amaranth got done for straight up flashing her vagina. So that was something as well.
Yeah, well, Twitch has got a lot of bit of a cam girl sort of feel to it. Softcore OnlyFans is what I've heard it described as.
It's definitely gone that way over the years. Yeah.
Yeah. Now. So this guy's trying to bring attention to the sexually suggestive content on Twitch, and Twitch has let that get a bit out of hand. Now, I people are going to think I'm drawing a long bow here. I think that's related to the next thing I'm going to say. Now, Twitch also recently has had a bit of an issue, to be fair to say, with the behaviour of some of its identities, which management has apparently overlooked and been warned of. So basically there's a Me Too moment for Twitch that happened last week, and a bunch of Twitch streamers were outed as for different levels of what do you call it, sexual misconduct? Is that
Yeah, like I mean, it ranges from
range? Yeah.
it really does. It really is such a broad spectrum of kind of
Yeah.
claims and
Look,
things. So yeah,
some I read were some are sort of I think just really pathetic, awkward guys, ranging up to some rumors of some really ordinary behaviour.
Yeah.
But the key here is that now there was some management that apparently knew and didn't do anything about it. And what happened last week forced their hand. So basically, there have been streamers who basically won't be streaming on Twitch anymore, and there have been a few very high profile ones that have happened like that. One which nobody seems to know exactly what the story is, but there are some pretty juicy rumors going around. Is a guy, what's he called, Mr.
Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect, yes.
I knew where you were going before you got there. It's fine.
Yeah. Apparently he's not a real doctor.
No, that is true. That is actually very true.
Quite shocked when I read
I reckon the quoting of David Icke was probably a good giveaway that he may not be. Yeah.
What happened for anybody who hasn't seen it, and even I saw it and I'm a boomer, but then my kids knew who it was. Basically, he only just about 3 months ago signed an enormous multi-tens of millions of dollars deal with Twitch to be a streamer there. Now, towards the end of a stream, apparently he was, I don't think it's related, but he was talking about David Icke conspiracy theories, and anyone that doesn't know who David Icke is, he's the guy that thinks all the people running the world are lizards. I find him quite entertaining because he's lunatic, but I like that sort of stuff. I'm into that.
I would preface it with saying that you don't like necessarily what David Icke is saying because he's also a Holocaust denier, but just the fact that he's a crazy person. Yeah.
He's a nutbag. So to me it's my I can just lie down, read it on my tablet and read fiction. I've been reading his nonsense for years. But actually I would say in conspiracy theories, he's old school conspiracy theory.
I remember from when I was a teenager, and that's 20 years ago at least.
Back in the old days when you had him, you had Phil Snyder. Anyone Phil Snyder he's fantastic. He's gone now.
Yeah, the main three I can think of, and then the other one was there was like a Jewish dude from New York who was big on the UFO stuff, and I can't remember his name. He has like the big bushy beard and the glasses and stuff, but I just can't remember his name for the life of me.
There used to be conspiracy theories about the world being run by reptilian aliens and stuff. And
unironically, V, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, V was good. I love that series. But then this conspiracy theories used to be great, and they used to be inventing. The Holocaust and all stuff's garbage. But let's go with the lizard stuff, right? So that used to be good. Nowadays, conspiracy theories are boring, and they're not even trying very hard. Oh, I know the president's like colluding with people. Whatever, they all do. Get back to the aliens. So I want to know about the underground military bases.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like the timeline we live in is that conspiracy theories are like everything is so insane that they actually like confirm the existence of UFOs and no one bats an eyelid. Like I think there was a Joe Rogan podcast on it.
Yeah, I know, but that's because conspiracy theories are lame now and lazy. Corrupt politicians. Wow, that's so amazing. When did that start? Anyway, so give me the alien stuff any day. But anyway, so he mentioned David Icke, and I think that's a furphy. And then apparently soon after that, looked at his phone while on stream. Apparently got very concerned, and after that, like I think he did a big thank you to everybody for watching the stream, and nobody's heard from him again. Effectively, I released a statement which said nothing, but Twitch shut down his channel, Discord shut down his. He was
a Discord partner. Yep.
Now Twitch, when they shut down his channel and deleted all his history and everything, now that would have cost them a lot of money, and I think this is an important.
They refunded all the subs for that month as well.
He had an emoji. They took an emoji off. That happened to someone else we know. So when they do that, they're not mucking around. So it's a big thing. So whatever this Dr. Disrespectful did is serious. Now there's some really big rumors. One of them being, I don't know if I can say them all. But one of them being that him and Ninja and Shroud were trying to recruit people to go to a rival. Which I've heard a similar rumor about PewDiePie and others.
I have heard that too. Yep.
Yep. Now I think because they're all after a better deal, and if they go some of the ones with several 100 million people between them, then they can actually have a lot of bargaining power. And
it's almost like unionizing means that you can assert your position better. It's almost like that's a thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
Well, that's one of the rumors. Another rumor was that something happened. He cheated on his wife with a streamer, and
But that's actually known. I mean, that's the thing that actually did happen. He apologized for that and everything. So
yeah. And I've got to be honest, if he cheats on someone, I don't know.
it just makes you an asshole. Doesn't necessarily make you a
Yeah, that's between him and his wife. And in fact,
Yeah.
I saw a Ubisoft exec got sacked for basically that. And I think unless you're cheating with an employee,
Yeah.
I don't think
I you know,
business-
Cole's internal strife that actually happened, and it was I think he's like assistant or something like that, and that was what did him. The other stuff is like that's a private matter for them to navigate how they see fit. But the second you start, crapping where you eat kind of thing, that's where you got problems.
Oh, yeah, look, if it's with a person who's under your authority,
Yeah.
yes, I think it really has to be stamped down on, because look, there's something I'll say about all the conversations people have are actually about abuse of power, and people think they're sexism and think they're racism and so on, but they're actually about abuse of power. They're actually about what do people who are in a position of power over somebody else do with that power? Do they help them? Do they harm them?
And how much of a power balance issue there is?
I think it's a fantasy to believe there won't be power imbalances, because that's just the one.
But the nature of exactly.
But how do you use it? And a lot of people say, well, look, the fact is this is going to be controversial, but everyone's not equal. That's just the way it is, right? Different people at different heights, different people sizes, different people at different intelligence, just the way it is. But what the key is, and this is what a lot of debates now miss, is how do you use that power you have over others?
Whether it is an articulated, straightforward power, or is it a soft power, and how kind of different that is. Like if you're some CEO and there's some assistant who could quite literally be wiped off the face of the planet based on your whim, it's a different story. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll never work in this business again. And that can scale down to much smaller scale stuff where it's maybe a bit grayer, but like I said, I agree with you. I think as long as you're not dipping in the company ink, that's a situation for him and his wife to discuss.
Well, I think it all comes down to, are you abusing the power or not? And this is where some of the accusations against the Twitch people did seem to go towards an abuse of their power. And that needs to be addressed. And I'm going to say, look, it's a good thing to sort these things out. There's people will have their own opinions of it, but I think if you have people abusing their positions over others, no matter what it is, it needs to be sorted out, and they need to be punished for that. If it's something happening in their private life, it's really between them. If it's not illegal, then that's where I'd say, well, that's not something for them to worry about. But if somebody's abusing their position, that seems like it happened in some of the stories I read involving Twitch, then yes. Now, but what did happen? This is where I'm going to say the gaming industry acted on it, and I think that's something that I'd like to compare to something else. And
I know where you're headed with this. I know where you're going.
Exactly where I'm going. Now, there's a High Court judge in Australia who has also been, he's been basically touching up young female staff and doing things like that. And some of the female staff who some apparently very promising lawyers in their own right have had to leave or quit. Now actually, my wife said an interesting thing a little while ago. Is when things happen in businesses, in companies that make things generally really, really hard. This is paraphrasing what she's saying. The women will say, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." I don't have to put up. Whereas men will hang around and put up with more. Now I don't know. There's reasons why that might be. She has her theory of why that is, but that's just how it happens. So apparently this guy who's a High Court judge in Australia has effectively done what gets said happens in gaming. He's effectively chased a number of young female promising lawyers out of the industry with his misbehaviour. But it never got addressed, and it was known. And so, the Liberal government appointed him to a royal commission to punish unions for behaving badly, and he's been protected through the whole career. Now, I'd like to compare that to Twitch, who acted, and companies attached to some of these people on Twitch. They've all acted, and even though at the time they didn't actually, they were warned and didn't do anything. And in one case, the Twitch CEO is accused of laughing it off. in the end, the public pressure that happened, and it happened a lot online on Twitter, actually resulted in some sort of action, and that's you'd have to say generally that's a good thing. You could argue, but generally it's a good thing. I'd like it. The gaming's doing much better than politics and other areas.
We didn't even touch on footy. Like,
yeah, do you want to know how many rapists are actually on the Channel 7 commentary team?
Allegedly, yeah.
Allegedly if you want, but I'm not naming any names. But
yeah. No, and so like I think it's that thing of, I think that was always what annoyed me with a lot of the gaming stuff is we had the opportunity to do it better, and I think in some ways we actually do it better in holding these kind of power structures accountable. And like I guess it is that thing of like letting kind of people evolve and letting them come to terms with like what's happened. But when there are these like gross misuses of power, they get called out. I think a lot of the Twitch stuff is a smokescreen, and there are some real nasty predators still out there, ready to kind of to strike even nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, but I think I think.
Watch out for the wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. It's always me think the lady doth protest too much. If they're carrying on way too much about it, they're the ones to me you always got to watch. The loudest voices are usually the ones you got to be careful of. But at the same time, we do a reasonably good job of cleaning house, and I would even argue sometimes we do a good job of allowing people to re-enter that sphere if they if they prove that there was like an improvement, or they like I think we still have our problems with a lot of these, like I still don't like Twitter, I still don't like the nature of those kind of call outs, but at the same time I think we if you compare that to the normie world, quote unquote, there are more instances of there being people held to account than the alternative. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, look, and that's the thing with compared to politics, compared to football. Choose NRL or AFL, whatever your favorite code is. There's a lot of covering up goes on. We know what goes on there. It's a lot of covering up. Media works very hard to do it. In gaming, it's good to see that there is at least an avenue for people to get some sort of redress. Now, it has a burst that happens every so often. It can always be done better, and it should be done better. But it's being done a whole lot better than, say, Australian politics. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. We're talking. I mean, these allegations against this judge, we're not talking this was like a once-off incident. Like, some of these Twitch stories, it'd be a once-off incident, or it'd be over a period of 6 to 12 months or whatever. I mean, this is decades. We're talking decades that this has just gone unaddressed, and that's the unacceptable part of it. Is it's like, if it's a thing that happened X amount of time ago, and it was, it kind of took place between these set parameters, you can go, all right, well, there's been room for growth, there's been room for this, but we are talking like a pattern of behavior over decades. It's just it's insane,
and being rewarded and overlooked. Yes. So look, I think the rest of the world for once can learn something from gaming.
Yeah,
that's where I'm going with this. I think everybody who spoke up, credit to them. I think it's good. I think when people are abusing their positions, that needs to be addressed, because that does lead to worse behaviour. So if somebody's prepared to, if a guy in an office environment or in a work environment is prepared to treat the women that work under him badly, then he is very likely, and I'm not going out on a limb here, to do a lot of other bad things as well, because it's about respect for other people, and it's about how you use your position. And
especially when it's that particularly kind of like that sexual element. Do you know what I mean? Like that to me is like, I don't know. I think you're right. I don't have much more to add to that.
My theory there is that's the easy way it comes out, and I think it's the way that it is a very easy, very and now when I say satisfying, I don't mean that, but you know what I mean. Like for the person doing it, it's a very satisfying way to exercise their authority over somebody else, and that's why it comes out in males like that. But it's always a sign that there's more there, and that's why it always has to be addressed. So look, but on the other hand, I would also say that now Twitch, I'm not entirely surprised, because now I said earlier, the guy who has the Twitch in court for $20 million bucks over sexually suggestive content, Twitch management has has seemed to be a bit blokey, and the way Twitch is becoming a cam girl site, I have no problem with it. If girls want to live in doing that, whatever. But it is a little bit of a blokey environment there when you've got that sort of thing being so prevalent, and on the other hand, you've got that I believe that's related to an attitude where the women can be treated badly generally, and I think that's something that Twitch probably needs to address in its management at some point, and say, what are we, and are we basically like a really low end OnlyFans site? And if we're doing that, what sort of message are we sending? How are we managing this? What standards are we allowing and accepting off each other? Because I think there is still something that Twitch high up needs to really address here. And I think a lot of what we're seeing is all related. Now, I'm not blaming the individuals that are doing it, but I think Twitch management needs to tighten up on this stuff and say, look, what are we, and what message are we sending?
Yeah, what's our identity going forward? And if you want to split it off and to have its own separate kind of site attached to it, that's fine. But I think that, to me, that's a smarter way to do it. Do you know what I mean? If you just have, you call it something else, you can have it under the same branding, you can have it the same machinery, the same mechanisms tied all together if you want. But the problem is, I think from their point of view, the second they acknowledge it, the second Amazon goes, well, it's time to put an end to that, because that's not what Amazon's about. And then you're back to square one. So I agree with you. I think they need to do something. What that something is, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, look, if it's only about making money, which Amazon is about making money,
yeah,
basically.
Well, since when? That's a new thing.
If it's only about making money, then you let anything happen, and you'll end up like we talked about before the podcast. Sport's really rife with this stuff, right? And the reason being is the players are worth a ton of money, and so because they're worth a ton of money, and this is why the Doctor Disrespectful getting just the blanket ban was quite a shock, because he's worth a lot of money to them. So and they have been hesitant to act on many others, like without a lot of public pressure. There wasn't any public pressure against Doctor Disrespect or whatever he said. That wasn't coming up through Twitter like it was for some of the other people who identified. This kind of came out of the blue, and a lot of people are very.
I think that and like people like Slasher, who's well known for having a good inside line. Like if you want to leak something, you leak it to Slasher, and if he says it, people will know that it's true. He won't reveal his sources. He won't tell you where he heard it. But if he says it, it's pretty much guaranteed to be true. He reckons he knows, but even he's not willing to touch it. And if he's not willing to say it, then I don't know, it's either big money or there's an ongoing investigation, or there's something going on. I mean, Twitch did receive a bunch of DMCA takedowns for like people playing background music in the background. I
don't think they care.
I was going to say, I don't think that's related to it, and I think that that won't be the issue, because the biggest one realistically, if they ever want to go to a DMCA war, YouTube versus Twitch. I mean, the amount of YouTubers who just copy Twitch streams, dump the VODs, like they did it to us all the time when we were doing Couch Warriors videos, where they just take the VODs and put them on YouTube, and then vice versa, Twitch streamers watching YouTube videos for their audience. I reckon there's kind of a tacit understanding between the two, where they're like, I don't call you on it, you don't call me on it, we just don't meet, we just don't talk about it. But the record companies and stuff don't play by those rules. So I don't know. It's an interesting time to be in that space.
Well, I'm gonna put a guess out, and hopefully I don't do anything that's going to get us in any legal issues. I'm gonna say the Doctor Disrespect one. It will be something that will turn out that will involve police and will be along the lines of what I've just spoken about. Yeah. But it's going to be a legal thing.
That is one of the prevailing 4chan rumors, is all I will say.
Well, I'm going to say that's my suspicion because of how they've acted.
Yeah, agreed. It has gone nuclear, and you wouldn't have gone nuclear otherwise.
And look, Twitch still has Twitch has some thinking to do, and it's pretty obvious. Twitch has some. How does it let its partners in that behave, and what does it accept as a standard, and also has some thinking to do about what sort of content it actually is, because I think their whole message is a little bit frat boy. That's my impression, and I know people are going to say you can't link the two things. You can't link the how it's turning into a cam girl site and how the streamers are behaving. I'll say yes, you can, because it does appear like a frat house to me. But on the other hand, the fact that action did get taken, it wasn't entirely by Twitch, other companies did as well. I think for in this particular case, I think the rest of the world can look at gaming and say, you know what, they're setting a better standard than us. I think some political parties and that can look at gaming and go, you know what, action can be taken, and for once we're setting some sort of standard, and so to me, it's some good and some bad out of that one. But it's been. Have I said anything that's going to get us in trouble?
No, I think it's like that's all pretty reasonable stances to take. Like I say, like my only thing is like it's better to just hear them, on their own individual merits, and I think that it's good. I don't think it's good that everything's happened with Doc, but I think the fact that people are willing to take that step back and go, as much as we all want to know, everyone's kind of keeping in house, and I think that is probably how a lot of it should be. Like there should be better pathways to deal with this in-house, and if that's the one thing that Twitch comes away from and says, we've had this complaint or we've had this thing, as some form of mediation or some form of way to deal with that sooner rather than later, I think if that's the outcome of it, then I think that's definitely definitely the way forward.
And I'll say from my 51 years of being corporate and being a consultant to a lot of places, if men are mistreating women in the workplace, it's normally a sign. It's like the kid who tortures animals. It's a sign that there's more going on. Stamp it out straight away. That's just personal.
Yeah.
All right. One last thing I did miss, because I just had it open. I just noticed Xbox Series S. Apparently, they reckon is going to be announced.
The Lockhart is the code name for it. Apparently, it's going to be it's going to have ray tracing. It's going to be a little tiny bit more powerful than the PS5 CPU. There's a lot of rumors going out about it. They'd be stupid not to. Let's be real. Like, of course, there's going to be a diskless version. Of course, there's going to be like an NS version.
Yeah, cool. So Microsoft are actually going to do something new as well. Well, actually, new and the same. Series S, same thing.
Yeah, I think what they'll do this time, as opposed to previously we've had the Xbox One and then the Xbox One X, I think they'll just release them at the same time. These are the two standards that we'll meet, and then the Xbox One X will become the standard for any previous game. So if you just want to buy the last generation stuff, the only ones they'll start selling, they'll move the Xbox One X down to the Xbox One S's price, and they'll move the Xbox Series S to where the Xbox One X is, about $450 Australian, and then I think you'll be looking at an Xbox Series X for about $600. Were I a betting man, that's what I'd say. I think for PS5 and the discless one, subtract $100 for the discless one, but I think you're looking at $800 for the one with the disc, maybe $750. I think that's pretty much guaranteed at this point.
Cool. And Animal Crossing got an update during the week. Minecraft got an update during the week. So two big games for the young people.
Monster Hunter gets one in the next couple of days. It's a great time to start releasing. Like, there's so many more people on gaming. Obviously, gaming I think's had a 12 or 13% uptick in the last thing. So not surprised that a lot of these big games are going, hey, let's get to market, let's get some fresh blood in. Lots of people doing free weeks or free weekends. Lots of people doing we're suddenly free to play. Like, suddenly all of these games are trying to find more audiences. Yeah.
Never been a better time to game. There's still some stuff to sort out, obviously, as we spoke about, but there's never been a better time to jump on and play games. And Minecraft Dungeons also, I think one of their DLCs came out as well. So so get on to some of these big games. I think Death Stranding came to PC as well, if anybody likes
it. It just came out. Yep, that's true.
So yes, if you like walking around in very high resolution, grab a copy of Death Stranding on your PC. Anyway, so that's it. Got nothing added. Jason, you're all wrapped up for news?
That's basically it from us. Otherwise, obviously, we're going to have a couple of weeks of repeats while Jack resets us. So keep an eye out for new content coming from us in probably, I'd say, a month or so. But right now, we're still on the break we're originally intending to take anyway. And then we'll be pushing more website content. Interesting times ahead. I've got to chat with some people about the Murasaki content as well coming up. So yeah, it should be interesting times indeed. But for now, as far as news goes, it's all what we've covered in the podcast today.
Well, let's see. Well, every week I start to do this, I think, there's not much happening. Let's go make a list, and it's always very interesting. Anyway, look, all right. Well, thanks anyone for listening. NewGamePlus.tv is the website. Go there. Go to shop.newgameplus.tv, buy something. Luke bought one of our hoodies, and so that's very nice of you. So buy something, support us, because the Australian government's sort of dicking us around a fair bit. So we need
definitely, yeah.
Yeah, they're incompetent bastards.
Yeah.
cool. And on all our social networks, New Game Plus TV, all one word. No doubt, got a bit controversial there. So if you got any comments, happy to have a chat. So go to Facebook or Twitter or anywhere like that and have a chat. I'm even on Gab. So,
should you admit that out loud? Like, God damn.
We can have some free speech chat. I don't hang around on there, and it is an interesting place. But I do believe generally the reason I did it is when a new social network comes out, try and grab your handle on each one so that somebody can't grab.
Yeah.
So I actually do that, and so it's not that I'm an alt-right.
Tying it back to the conversation before, the one that I missed when we were doing New Game Plus TV is Mixer. Someone snuck in and got it out from under me.
Well, there you go. You got your revenge in the end.
Yeah.
No, my original handle was Ninja. Anyway, New Game Plus TV everywhere, and or McDermott if you want to chat about what we said, look, chat next week. New Game Plus TV, shopping on New Game Plus TV. New Game Plus, that's it. I'm done. I've got nothing else to add.